Hey guys, this is Rurouni K5 here. Today's anime review, I get to cover another anime series that I just finished watching, which is for today's anime review is One Punch Man. One Punch Man is based on the manga of the anime series. One Punch Man is actually based on the manga of the same name by Yusuke Murata, which is serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump. One Punch Man started as a 24-episode anime series from October 5th, 2015 to July 2nd, 2019 as well. So we'll get to the episodes thing and the rumors about season 3 of One Punch Man in just a moment, guys. Because it started off as a digital manga, as a web manga written by One, which is a self-published manga. But I'm here to discuss about the anime television series, to explain about how One Punch Man is, of what it's about, because this anime series has capsulated only 24 episodes of action, some comedy, and there is some notion probably of how what you expect dedicated to this particular anime that is based off a manga that was serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump in 2015 as well, because that's just how it is as well. So let's review One Punch Man, because this is probably one of the newer anime titles that came out in 2015, which is probably in mid 2010s, which is probably one of the newer ones as what you expect. So for the plot, probably about how of One Punch Man, however, is probably of how to expect as well. Of how is there anything of how the focus on the story, what it is about? Because it's far more interesting of how One Punch Man is, probably. I mean, their one story attempt at a story is basically like an introduction to the Superhero League, which pays heroes with any certain public donations and ranks them by the class for any similarities to not calling Saitama every fight. They use the most convoluted reasons to keep Saitama from the top, remove the league, and nothing changes but the loss of several characters in this bloated cast. I mean, One Punch Man is by far one of the more interesting, newer anime. I mean, with the removal of Saitama, but instead of giving him a legend and a myth, he was basically a represented like a retired shonen hero of how One Punch Man basically goes. To explain what it is, I mean, that's probably of what it is about, particularly of how. So let's review to the story particularly, because yeah, One Punch Man is probably one of the newer anime titles as well, of how it's given in the title, basically. If you ever will explain of it, I mean, if you're in the action, I mean, when it comes to basically the combat is basically flashy and well animated of how One Punch Man goes up to that moment, ever called particularly of that degree of how the superhero league probably of how One Punch Man is as well, up to that point as well. And yeah, this basically of how the strongest of how Saitama is. Basically, he does 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 squats, and 100-mile run, particularly for One Punch Man, probably in this whole way. And yes, he fights with basically one of those like villains, and as well as these creatures, especially giant ones, when he uses any certain punch that Saitama uses in One Punch Man, of how the flow goes as well, particularly of how it was as well. And yes, there are basically other characters that were introduced basically in One Punch Man as well. I mean, the animation is kind of reminded me of. We'll get to that in just a moment, particularly in um, the probably the story and the plot, the animation goes. I mean, One Punch Man basically is it tells about Saitama, who is a former salesman superhero, who, thanks to some intensive daily training routine, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and 10-kilometer run, he harnesses the incredibility to defeat the opponents with all the power of a single punch Saitama has. Despite having an ability that many superheroes would die for, he feels bored and unfulfilled with his life and constantly on a lookout for a villain who will give him a worthy fight. Since his overpowered abilities cause them to immediately surrender without hesitation. When he met Genos, who is a cyborg, who he takes under his tutelage after the latter heavily insists on it. I mean, after defeating several villains, such as a mad scientist, Professor Genos, and his army of robotic mammals, and Kombu Infinity, who basically composed of Kombu leaves, and Mosquito Girl, eventually the two of them are drawn to join the alliance of superheroes. That's what superheroes join an alliance, just how it is. When the Hero Association putting them with various other heroes of differing strengths to have the credibility to make a united front against evil. I mean, which culminates in the battle against the armies of the Deep Sea King and Boros, an extraterrestrial army. In every single battle, which Saitama eagerly to find that one villain that will give him a worthy challenging to fight to revive his hero spirits. Yep, because what I liked about One Punch, that's basically how the story goes in One Punch Man. I mean, the animation is very high and very well done, drawnly how it was, particularly the sound. Well, the art is very high of how the animation is very spectacular, and the spectacular color and bombastic fluidity of how the animators made it have received of how the appalling industry rates how it goes. However, outside these types of sequences on these slow pans and static characters, let the mouth take the budget. Applying the manga like art style because it's adapted from the manga as well. With these types of certain action sequences throughout to the whole series should have been nicer. I mean, the character designs can be hilarious at times, but they're well drawn and very bombastic. What One Punch Man had a lot to do for when it comes to the animation of how it is, as how you expect. The sound's very medium. I mean, the music gets me all the hype because of those heavy metal guitars, what you hear, which is how it goes. I mean, the song Hero, which is the opening theme for One Punch Man, represents of how the anime starts to begin with, of how it reflects on the script as well, of how the music goes. The story is basically like a funny premise of a One Punch superhero grows repetitive before long when the protagonist snaps all tension, such as leaving a generic battle storyline of how the story goes. I mean, the characters basically that are the newer ones, like Tatsumaki, is basically he is being insulted by Genos when Genos called Tatsumaki a brat. Probably that's what Genos calls Tatsumaki a spoiled brat. If you read the subtitles, if you ever watched One Punch Man in its original Japanese dub. Come to think of it, the first season of One Punch Man is made by the company Madhouse that brought you anime such as Ninja Scroll and many other anime works that are made by Madhouse, including my favorite 90s anime OVA from the 90s, Devil Hunter Yoko. And the second season of One Punch Man was made by JC Staff, which is known for their work, such as Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Maid Sama, and Revolutionary Girl Utina as well. Despite that, though, I like to learn the fact of how One Punch Man goes because there are some fight scenes of how that basically of how it goes to expect of how does it work probably of how there's nothing very serious about it if you expect to see what's going on in One Punch Man. Very little up to that point of how the way the fighting scenes and the single punches, what Saitama uses in One Punch Man, probably. It's just how you expect of how, if you ever see One Punch Man, either if you watch the anime series that has 2 seasons, or if you read the original manga, either a webcomic or the actual original manga as well, probably in many other satisfactory results in some similar turn of event way as well, for the whole credibility about One Punch Man, how it goes as well. Yep, but that's just how it is, what it is as well. And yes, this is basically the trope of superhero anime, especially for an anime series like One Punch Man. I mean, both seasons of One Punch Man, I mean, season 1 has 12 episodes. The second season of One Punch Man has 12 episodes. So that basically totals up to as 24 episodes. I mean, not bad for a 24 episode anime series, because that basically has of how it takes the hype for a 24 episode anime series. I mean, I've heard that, I'm pretty sure if One Punch Man is getting a third season, that'll be in the works probably ever since they finished season the how they, in a weird cliche conclusion of how the second season of One Punch Man goes, probably in a certain ways. I mean, we'll find out if they ever renew the third season, if they're going to do season 3 of One Punch Man as well, because I'm expecting for season 3 of One Punch Man to come out, particularly, especially for the whole entertainment of watching a anime series that has 24 episodes, only 2 seasons in the whole thing for this anime like One Punch Man, of how it goes as well, particularly. As of how it goes, as we can only imagine, though. But overall, I find this anime series to be overhyped and very well action made as well. And that's probably the whole superhero trope of anime, kind of the extent to Mob Psycho 100 and My Hero Academia. Speaking of Mob Psycho 100, Mob Psycho 100 is another one created by the same creator who did the One Punch Man series as well. I mean, that's basically the same art style. I'm thinking that One Punch Man really does have the same art style as Mob Psycho 100, because they're both made by the same creator who worked on One Punch Man probably in the whole thing. And yes, some of the nickname tropes for Saitama, they refer to him as Cape Baldy, because Saitama loses all the hair when he does a lot of 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, 10,000 kilometer runs. Saitama has the way of how it goes. But overall, I'm going to give this anime 10 out of 10, because it's not bad for a 24 episode anime series that has only 2 seasons on here as well. I'm pretty sure, let's pray that season 3 will come out as well. So that's going to be it for my anime review on One Punch Man for today. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's my thoughts on this. I find this anime to be bombastically have the superhero trope, how it is as well. I mean, after I finished watching season 2 of One Punch Man, because I was expecting when will season 3 to come out, but we'll only know about this. Hope subscribe for content. My Anime Planet link in the description down below. You share this video on your Twitter and Facebook account and all your social media pages on your there. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up by smacking the like button on this video if you enjoyed this video. Be sure to feel free to leave in the comments section below what is your thoughts on One Punch Man. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, RoniK95. Feel free to join my channel, especially if you're new to my channel, and hit the notifications bell button. Keep it otaku for this anime review, and I got another brand new anime review coming up, because what we have for what's in store, because I have a newest anime review basically of what we have for what's in store for today, what we have here. Stay tuned for my next anime review. I have another 80s anime that I finished watching on Crunchyroll in the past for tomorrow's anime review on Godmars. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Godmars, because you won't want to miss another anime review.